Hey everybody, Greg Johnson here with iowacity.architecture.com, and I am in the Chauncey Swan Park in Iowa City at the southeast corner of Gilbert Street and Washington Street. And this is a short video about, from an architectural perspective, and I guess to some degree landscaping, what you can do to create comfortable and functional spaces, public spaces, for year-round use. Now, one of the main concerns that people have is exposure to sunlight, and there are three reasons for that. First of all, bright sunlight causes glare. It's unpleasant sometimes to look directly into the sun, right? So the glare is an issue. The heat that's generated from direct sunlight is unpleasant, and in Iowa summers it can get pretty intense. So even right now I would be sweating if it weren't for this diffused light from the trees overhead. And then third, beyond just the glare and the heat, is the health concern about exposure, extended exposure to direct sunlight. And in Iowa City we've got, when it's not cloudy like today, a nice bright sunny day, a lot of intense direct sunlight, which you've seen can damage surfaces in cars or whatever. It's pretty intense. And so what you look for is, there are obviously things you can do. I mean, I have some sunglasses that I'm wearing for UV protection, and my wide rim hat. You can wear I sometimes will put on a shirt, a long sleeve shirt, lighter colored, on top of my short sleeve shirt in the summer if I'm going to be out in the sun for an extended period of time. So sunglasses, shirts, even gloves, light colored gloves. You'll see some people carrying around an umbrella in the summer to block the sunlight. So there are a lot of ways you can creatively keep the sun off of you. But in public spaces, often what you see is vegetation, right? So trees, like what we have here in Chauncey Swan Park, are excellent. So I'm here enjoying the shade. And then, so that's what, the individual can do, or the landscaper can do. From an urban planning standpoint, or from an architectural standpoint, there's some things you can do with reflective lighting surfaces. And we have some of that in Iowa City, predominantly in use by the University of Iowa, but also some local developers that build tallish, modern buildings with metal, glass, and other reflective surfaces. So in that regard, there are kind of a couple of settings where that comes into play. One would be in a downtown area where you have alleyways that are otherwise not very sunny. You've got buildings on either side, right, in a tight alleyway. If you have buildings that are using reflective surfaces, some of that overhead sunlight can bounce back down and give you some nice natural lighting that's more enjoyable. And we see that. I actually have a page on the iowacity.architecture.com website. I'll put a link down below if you're on YouTube, and I'll have this video on that page. But basically you can see where to the east in the morning you'll get reflective light, right? Light reflecting off of that east face of a building. And not as effective, but still functional, are light brick or light cement surfaces. That is probably better than darker surfaces, but certainly glass and metal are even better. But anyway, you get the morning light reflecting off in areas that are otherwise, even by like a 2 or 3 story building, is going to create some shade, right? So if you have this taller building, to catch the light, it's going to send it back down. And then the full southern side of a building, if it's reflective, you'll get pretty much year round and all day reflection off of that surface, just boosting the ambient light in a diffused way, right? So it's not direct light that's going to blind you or be too bright to see comfortably. It's not going to have the heat intensity that direct sunlight would, and less UV concern for the skin. And certainly then in the evening or in the afternoon, you're going to get light coming in from the west, right, bouncing off that reflective surface and filling in either alleys, streets, or public spaces. We have a pedestrian mall downtown Iowa City that benefits from this. And so anyway, that's one context for these reflective buildings. And I should also say, though, like in our pedestrian mall in Iowa City, in this little space that's just south of Washington Street, again, you'll see, just like we have here in the Chauncey Swan Park, there's a lot of tree coverage, a lot of shade from that. So what's helpful is where you already have trees, where you already have shade, if you can create some extra diffused lighting, it's kind of nice. It brightens it up a bit, but again, not so intensely that you're going to have too much heat or too much glare or risk skin health concerns. Okay, so that's one context. So another context would be here where I'm at. There's this nice park and good tree coverage, but some areas where the sun is just beating down and it would be uncomfortable and maybe unsafe to sit there for an extended period of time, right, without a lot of sunscreen on and some good coverage. So in this regard, there's a proposed building right now that is being discussed and considered for this space just south of here, where obviously you're outdoors, there's going to be sunlight, it's going to be bright, but it would help by creating, at least for part of the park, you'd have some shade where if people want to be comfortable and sit out for an extended period of time, read a book, visit with friends, have a picnic, you can do that and not be sweating and, you know, just feeling too much sunlight directly on you. And again, then to the east, what you would get is, right now there's this parking ramp to my left here to the east, but any place to the east you'd have that reflective lighting in the morning that otherwise you wouldn't start getting that light until the sun's a little bit high in the sky. If there's trees or even like a two-story building or a house, there's going to be some shade until you're kind of getting into mid-morning. So that building, if it's tall and has some reflective surfaces, you're going to get light reflecting off of that, and certainly then to the south you're going to get the sun throughout the day reflecting off the south side of that building, providing some additional ambient light. And then what I like, the morning light is nice, of course, but what I like is the afternoon and evening light, particularly where you get that reflective light in an area where you're just going to have shade. I mean, if you think about it, right, most of the morning, most of the kind of afternoon and evening, you're shaded by something, by trees or buildings or whatever. So to capture that during the day and get some reflective lighting off of a taller building is kind of nice. So anyway, that's a description of kind of two situations where it might be beneficial to have tallish, kind of modern architecture with reflective surfaces like metal and glass. Anyway, I appreciate all the positive feedback that we've had and questions and comments. I've been trying to put some of that on our website, and certainly happy to hear from others. And I know there's some other viewpoints out there and other preferences as far as architecture. Not everybody's into modern design, and there are certainly people out there that want to preserve the historic integrity of areas and the character of the city. And so I do want to hear from people, regardless of what your position is. So anyway, with that, I'll say thanks, and we'll talk soon. Take care.